Get ready for a terrific story of a cheating wife, where revenge turned into a drama of fate. I entered the hotel room, full of hope and anticipation, but what I saw left me speechless and full of rage. My wife was there, in the arms of her lover, and time stood still for a moment. But I was determined not to let this treason go unpunished. The massacre I arranged was the ultimate act of desperation and revenge. Fate has broken all boundaries, and now we are all witnessing this amazing story where the lines between truth and cruelty are blurred. Get ready to plunge into the whirlpool of emotions and events, where infidelity leads to unpredictable consequences. Welcome to the wonderful world of adultery and the drama of fate, where every decision determines our future. I am 37 and she is 35. We have known each other since high school. We started dating when she was in 8th grade and got married the day she turned 19. In addition to Russian citizenship, I have 2 other citizenships. This helps a lot in business because I travel around the world a lot. My wife used to go with me, but 2 years ago she went to work. She felt like it, you see. So fine, okay. Anyway, I began to travel alone, although the number and length of my trips was greatly reduced. Anyway, speaking of which, I was away on business and was supposed to be back on Friday, 31. But my wife's birthday was yesterday, so I pushed and came back the day before yesterday, but you get the idea. Genya did not tell me he was staying with a friend, like a surprise. Yesterday, I drove up to the dealership and picked up her surprise. The present is a Honda Survey. Drove to her work, thought I would come in at lunch, give her a bouquet of flowers and the keys to the car. Drove up to her work, parked, didn't have time to get out. I look, my wife comes out, some prick approaches her with a bouquet, and they get into his car. I followed them to the motel. They're there, and I'm suddenly as calm as a boa constrictor after lunch. I sat there for about 5 minutes, and then the security guard came out for a smoke, and I went over to him, explained the situation, and offered, evergreen American rubles. He gave a lot indeed, and got all he had on him. Anyway, he told me the room and gave me the maid's key card. They all fit into all the rooms, but he warned me that he did not know me and that if anything, he would roll with the cops. In general, I went into the room, and there the lovebirds were rolling around on the bed, undressing each other. But they weren't completely undressed yet. There was zero to shit left on them. I went in and politely asked if I needed a third gentleman. In general, first we had a silent scene, then the hero lover jumped on me, but his face got on my shoe, and for some reason he calmed down very sharply. My wife first started, you kind of misunderstood everything, took him by the hair, pulled him up to the mirror, and there is no bra, underwear at the knees, turned him to the body on the bed. He was lying, blinking and afraid to say a word. I asked, "How else can I understand it?" He roared, "It's the first time. I do not know what came over you. You were gone all the time," and so on and so on. Anyway, he took the keys and told my mother-in-law and father-in-law to come and get her things. The mother-in-law and father-in-law did not come, but my wife is sitting under the door, crying, asking for any tests, saying that it was the first time she was so crazy. So that was it. So after a while I tell them what happened next. The father-in-law and mother-in-law know. I called them, told them, offered to come over and get my stuff. The father-in-law said that he did not want to know my daughter and forbade my mother-in-law to come too. Okay, I did not say it, by the way, but there are children, in fact, and did not kill her only because of the children. And for some kind of polygraph test, she begged for it herself. She quit her job right away. Or rather, she called there and said she wasn't going to work anymore. Today we'll meet with the wife of the candidate and the lover, and you may ask why. And I'll tell you right away to explain why this little brother is in the hospital. Well, there you go. Forgiveness is out of the question, but there will not be a divorce yet either, but she will no longer be a beloved wife. The children need a mother while she is with me, and then we'll see. In general, probation without time limit. My children will grow up with me. That's 100%. That's for sure. I told my wife that I no longer consider her my wife. I am a free man. I, not her. If she wants to leave, I will not keep her. I find out that I found Vaska. Even for once, half a list, I'll just kill him. Vaska visited me in the hospital, by the way, in private, told me that if he didn't get away to his Hosransk after discharge, I would make him even worse than he was in the motel. All his swearing it was the first time didn't bother me. He has 24 hours after his discharge to clean up. That's what his wife told him too. You might say I'm nervous. What would I be nervous about? Well, my mistake. Didn't consider the fact that in any woman sits a potential, loosened control, and here I gotta spit. So, a family is a business project, and in business there are failures. A normal person doesn't chew the snot, but learns a lesson and starts a new business project. Life, in fact, it does not stop. It just moves on to a new stage, that's what I think, and the fact that the army of losers punched his face, so he tried to take mine. I think he's right. My personal, and I don't forgive that. And on the scripts, don't be jealous that someone can give a Honda. Okay, no need to judge me. There will be no scandal and no humiliation either. It will be like I said. She has a free choice. She knows I don't change the terms, and I keep my word. 9 years ago, I broke up with my brother who cheated on me. Gave him a chance. He didn't take it, but now he's free. Why should it be any different here? You see, I spend 50% of my time living in Europe or the USA, and I've been treating my family as a business project only since I've seen everything myself. It's easier to keep my emotions under control that way. If I don't take the time to get a divorce, it doesn't mean she's still my wife. I have no more obligations to her now, and she knows that. She wanted a Honda, so she bought one. Now I gave it to my cousin. I've had losses in business, so I've learned not to lose my head, shake it off, grit my teeth, and start over. I never took anything in life, by the way. Even if I did, I would turn it in. You know what I mean? And you took what you were punished for, as they say. I don't boast about the money, I earned it. I used to lose it to zero and earn it again. And I ain't afraid of no scary uncles either. If they can handle it, I got them. They can't. I shouldn't have started. I was 6'2", only 5'7". And Vasek was 6'2" because of his 100 weight. He jumped menacingly when I came in, and then lay there crying for some reason. How sad. I was never afraid of anyone. Never asked for anything from anyone, and I ask you, don't be jealous of someone else's. Never took someone else's and never gave someone else's. And the main thing is that I never forgave meanness. So it was, is, and will be. By the way, I'll tell you what happened at the polygraph. But before that, there is one more thing. We no longer have love and trust. They'll find someone else to do her business with. Can divorce at any moment. I will not keep, as I said. To try behind my back, I will destroy. I think I wrote everything clear enough in Russian and white. I'm not going to humiliate her. I'm not going to give her a happy life. I gave her the opportunity to live as the mother of my children. She knows everything. She understands everything. She made her choice. To stop traveling with me was her choice. Going to work was her choice. Accepting this jerk's courtship was, as you might have guessed, her choice. To go to a motel with him. You know, right? Who chose? Accepting his caresses and letting herself get naked was her own choice too. Asking for a polygraph and staying on my terms, she decided, she chose. Basically, she made hers and I made my choice. She wants a polygraph test and wants to pay for it. There will be a surprise test for her on Monday. And that's Monday. You see, the only thing I believe in this life is a fact. What I have seen, I have described. And it's a fact that the test will show. There will be another fact. And I'm not used to guessing, and I'm not going to get used to it either. She wants to prove that she has never been intimate with anyone but me. Not only is he a polygrapher with experience, he's a civil servant now. And he doesn't like women who walk around because he caught his a few years ago. Anyway, let's go back. I took a polygraph today. Took it to the Academy of the Ministry of Internal Affairs. Experts report. Doesn't lie. It was the first meeting in her office. There was no intimacy. In fact, there was no intimacy with anyone but me. Then, when we drove home, she said she just threw herself into an attitude like a maelstrom. Offended that I had left and was supposed to be away from her for her birthday. Decided I had someone. Begs me to forgive her. Asks for a chance. I took the idiot's wife to tell her everything. Said nothing had changed. No trust in her, and I don't think she ever will. Tomorrow, I'm on a plane to the States. There I will take a rifle and go to the mountains for a week. Don't you understand that as a woman, I'm no longer interested in her? And will she hate me or not? I don't care. I've said it before and I'll say it again. She doesn't live with me, she lives with me. And not as a wife, only as the mother of my children. She doesn't want to, freely. I'm thinking of finding or hiring a woman for intimacy, by the way. I don't have a problem with that. I hope that's clear. I'm not in the States yet. I'm going to dwarf country for 2 days today, and then I'm going to the States. The kids are with me. My wife is with the kids. They're the oldest with me in the mountains, the youngest with my wife in the valley. Then the kids to Disneyland, and then a Disney cruise. I promised them that a year ago. Life doesn't stop. You just have to know how to take a punch and shake it off so the shit doesn't stick. What do I wish for you? Dear listeners, thank you for listening carefully to this story. Here's to subscribing to the channel and giving likes, dislikes, and all kinds of comments and discussions on each story under each video. Thank you. And now on to the second story. In life, there is always room for unexpected twists of fate that turn our world upside down. And then one day I learned a terrible truth. My boss's mistress turned out to be none other than my own wife. My eyes could not believe it. My heart was torn apart. How could such a story be happening right in front of my eyes? It was a terrible cry of fate, penetrating every cell of my being. In this video, I will share with you an amazing story full of drama and unexpected turns of events. Prepare to plunge into a world where lies and betrayal are closely intertwined, and stories of fate show their inexorable power. Are you ready to embark on this journey where revelations and decisions will determine our future? Welcome to a world of amazing stories where secrets are revealed and life puts difficult choices before us. Michael and I were just acquaintances, not friends and not even comrades. We met by chance. I helped him once. Yes, that happens. His car broke down in a roadblock and, as luck would have it, his phone ran out of juice. He desperately voted, asking for help, but no one stopped. I was the only one who stopped. We hitched his car to a so-called tie, and I dragged his car all the way home. After that, Mikhail took my phone number and promised to thank me. And from the bottom of his heart, he said, he did not cheat, did as I promised. He called me a week later and invited me to a small but cozy restaurant. As it turned out later, this restaurant belonged to him. We had a very good time. We drank expensive cognac. The food was exquisite. Long talked about life, and here, having learned that I have a pair of the auto repair shops, Michael has declared that it's self and will be repaired at me and to the acquaintances too will recommend. In general, and so it began. I met with him occasionally. He came by occasionally for diagnostics or preventive maintenance. One day, Michael called me and invited me to his birthday. Naturally, the birthday was celebrated in his restaurant. I decided to go. Fortunately, my wife was away on a week-long business trip. Wow, those business trips. She had never had such an opportunity before, and then 2 years ago, promoted her at work. That's why the poor guy had to travel. And the most frustrating thing was that it was impossible to plan anything. Business trips were spontaneous. Sometimes I was still normal in the morning, but at lunchtime my wife called and said that either tonight or tomorrow morning she was leaving. Although there was an advantage to these business trips, after them, the relationship with my wife came alive in sex. The relationship was already tenderly loving, but after the business trips, there was a certain trepidation. We just wanted to hold hands and say words of love and tenderness to each other in the morning. And, of course, there's a lot of other lovey-dovey nonsense. All I could see was that her business trips became either more frequent or longer. If she used to go away once every month and a half or 2 months, now she could go twice a month or for 2 weeks at a time. So, back to the story. On the day of the celebration, Michael said he was going to introduce me to his woman. He said she was the most beautiful woman he had ever met. But the trouble was, she was married. Husband's a freak. He's not much of a man, and they haven't slept together for a long time. He drinks and once even tried to raise his hand against her, the bastard. They have no children because the man is terminally ill. But she is still hesitant to leave him, saying that she feels sorry for him. But Michael has decided that he will insist because they love each other, especially since his wife promised to give Michael a son. I also joked that it was a coincidence that my wife's name was Svetlana too. Svetlana arrived 40 minutes after the start of the celebration. When she walked in, my heart dropped to my heels. And literally, Michael's favorite woman, as you might have guessed by now, was my favorite wife. A beautiful yellow dress, her favorite color, by the way. It sat beautifully on her lovely figure. Casual makeup, stiletto shoes. She was beautiful, truly beautiful. Apparently, this was the first time she had decided to go out with her lover, because Michael immediately began introducing her to his best friends and colleagues in the restaurant business. I, on the other hand, stealthily went to the bathroom. Hot resentment was burning me from the inside, and what she had said about me to her lover. Moreover, we have 2 children, a boy and a girl. That just did not fit at all in my head. For an hour, I must have managed to avoid seeing my name boy and his chosen one. I watched my wife having fun, accepting the compliments of other men and wooing Michael. And then I stood at the table and proclaimed a toast. Something like a toast to the host and hostess of the party. I saw my wife first blush and then turn dramatically pale. Jumping out from the table, she ran out of the restaurant with all the speed her shoes would allow. Michael rushed after her. What happened next, I don't know. I left the restaurant through the kitchen and the back room. I don't know why I decided to hide. Whatever. I got home, got a bottle of Finnish vodka, sat down in the kitchen and waited. My wife arrived 2 hours later. There was no makeup on, and that was what made her look like on a business trip. A conversation with her never got off the ground. Neither that day, nor the next. My wife followed me, as if tied up. She cried and said, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." I had to move out of the house, because it was unbearable. Not seeing my wife, not hearing her cries, and saying, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." She called all the time. I had to disconnect the phone first, and then I had to change the number. I filed for divorce, notifying my wife through my mother-in-law. In court, she cried and refused to divorce. I willingly divided everything in half, and the business, and the apartment, and the acquired property too. Of course, our humane court left my children to my wife. She does not prevent me from seeing them. Why did she do that? Honestly, I don't know, and I don't want to know. It's been over a year, and my wife, my ex-wife, I still can't get used to it. She still tries to talk to me like she used to. As soon as one of our mutual acquaintances tries to start a conversation about her, I politely ask them to change the subject. The only thing I care about from the old relationship is the children. In law, the death penalty awaits traitors and traitors to the motherland. Cheating in a relationship has no consequences for the cheating party. It is the cheater and the children who suffer. Children suffer the most. It's not their fault that one parent wanted something for themselves personally. I think this also applies to personal space in a relationship, which nobody knows where it came from, and nobody knows who made it up and for what. Sincerely, Stanislav Olin.